Hey CrossLife students, Daryl here. We are continuing our walk through the book of Proverbs. I want to thank you guys for joining us. This is not ideal for us to have to meet this way and have to communicate this way, but I hope that you're making the most of it. I hope that you're spending more time in God's Word. I hope you're spending more time in prayer. Hopefully you're taking advantage of these devotions that we're doing. Proverbs chapter 8 is where we're going to be today, and today we pivot. So we take a little bit of a turn, but not too far. The previous 7 chapters have been this father writing to his son and really encouraging him to gain wisdom. Well, here in chapter 8, it takes a slight turn in that the author is now writing from the perspective of wisdom. So the wisdom almost gets personified here in the beginning of the chapter, and then has this dialogue and this conversation about its origins and its purpose and its character, and then in the last couple verses it makes an appeal to us. So I want to read some bits and pieces of it. We're not going to read the whole thing because it's a longer chapter, but I just want you guys to understand the importance of wisdom in your life and the importance of God's wisdom and godly wisdom guiding you in everything that you do. Chapter 8, Proverbs chapter 8, it says this, starting in verse number 1. Does not wisdom call? Does not understanding raise her voice? On the heights beside the way, at the crossroads she takes her stand. She that they're talking about is wisdom. So anytime in this chapter where that refers to the she, it is wisdom personified. Besides the gate in the front of town, at the entrance of the portals, she cries aloud. And then in verse 4 it says this, to you, O men, I call, and my cry is to the children of man. O simple ones, learn prudence. O fools, learn sense. She is crying out to the people, hey, listen, pay attention. What I have for you is going to change your life. Are you listening? Are you listening to what God has for you? Are you listening to what Jesus has for you and what God's Word has for you? It goes on in the next couple verses 6 through 11. Wisdom is calling to listen. Hear, for I speak noble things. What comes from my lips is right. My mouth will utter truth. Out of my mouth are righteousness. Straight to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. There's nothing crooked, nothing twisted. All these things are being stated here in these couple verses. For wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you may desire cannot compare to her. Wisdom is so important. It's so important that we hear wisdom, we cling to wisdom in our lives. And then in verse number 12, it makes another change, and it starts talking about a little bit about the character of wisdom. And you could read through all those and how all the different things that look to wisdom and how it guides wisdom. But then in verse number 19, I want to read this part, and I want you guys to lock into this. It says this, my fruit is better than gold, even fine gold, and my yield better than choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness, in the paths of justice, granting an inheritance to those who love me and filling their treasuries. Guys, it's so important that we heed this wisdom, that we heed what's in this book, because it's not just good information to have, it's life-altering information. It's information that will transform everything that you do. Guys, it's so important that we not just hear the wisdom, but we apply the wisdom to our lives. In verse number 22 through 31, it talks, wisdom takes a shift and starts to talk about how it existed before the earth even existed, how it walked with God, it was righteousness, it had all these things. Wisdom was with God from the beginning. All the way through verse 31, you could read all those. We're not going to spend time in that now just because of time. But then in verse 32, we go back to the appeal. These last couple verses of the chapter are going to sound awfully familiar to what you heard in the first couple chapters, where it says this, and now, O sons, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and do not neglect it. Blessed is the one who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting beside my doors. For whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord. But he who fails to find me injures himself. All who hate me love death. If there's anything that you get out of today's devotion is this last statement here. Whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord. I don't know about you guys, but I want to be in the favor of the Lord. I want to be in the favor of God. I want to have God be blessing me in everything that I do. Find wisdom. Cling to the wisdom of God. Find it, pursue it, chase after it. Guys, I hope you have a great day. Continue reading God's Word, and we'll see you in a couple days with the next chapter in Proverbs. Have a great day. God bless.